Hi everybody. Okay, so looks a bit weird this view, but I've come to talk about travel journal, memory journal that I have started, and it's really hard for me to say this. Let me just sit down and get comfortable. I think what you can see is the correct view. So where do I begin? I have been truly exceptionally lucky to have connected in a way that is so special with a friend that it's hard to describe, but I've always known that I should be friends with this person, and it's just taken the right steps for me to be there. So I'll firstly explain that Louisa Heinzel, who I'm sure many or all of you watch already, is the most wonderful junk journaler ever to watch. She's incentive, she's encouraging, she's funny, her brain works in a different way. Her imagination and where that takes her is just unreal. And I've been watching Louisa for 6-7 years, and whilst watching her I always knew that I should be her friend. And last year I was very sadly diagnosed with an illness that before and during diagnosis I was very unwell and taken to my bed. I've always worked full-time, I've always crafted part-time as a hobby, and I was in a position where I couldn't do any of that. And the thing that kept me going was watching Louisa's videos, among other junk journal artists as well. But my main, I want to say attraction, but it's not attraction, is it? It was my main, the person that it gave me most from the videos was Louisa. And I've said, before, I always wanted to be her friend. I just felt that we could be friends. And, that might sound a little bit odd and it might sound a little bit weird. But anyway, so during my illness, when I was really quite poorly, I was just watching her videos. And in the past, when she's always spoken about her songs that she writes and gets produced and sung by a guy called Daniel Evans, she always encouraged us on the videos to go over and watch him on TikTok or watch him on another platform. So I'd never been able to do that because I always worked full time. So this one particular day she had mentioned it again, and I thought, well, I've got nothing else to do. I went over to another platform and watched Daniel sing, and I fell in a hard way. He's the most amazing singer. He's the most amazing, beautiful person. He's got a personality that just draws you in. He's kind, and generous with his music. And he, you know, he does daily music on there for us, and he goes live for us to join and go live with him. And he asked one day, who's here, why are you here, where you come from, blah blah blah, where you're watching from. And I'd put, I'm here because of Louisa Heinzel. She said about your music, that's why I've come over. And from then on, there was a connection. And, you know, I've commented on Louisa's videos for many years. She's always sent a heart me, or she's commented back on any like comments that she needed to reply on. But I'm not going to be visual to her because she's got so many followers. But on here, we connected and we started chatting on the chat. And then I think I sent her a message, and she realised it was me. And then we started chatting. And it's been a very, very short time. So just over 12 months. And I can now call her my best friend. And I was lucky enough to go over to Germany and meet with her. And then I think Louisa, you know, I will link her video in here, and I think she'll speak about the fact that she didn't go out, she didn't do anything really, and her job and her art is her life. And I think when I was over there, she realised that there are more things in your life that you can do. And, you know, she won't mind me saying this either, but she was going through some health struggles. And, you know, me going over there to see her was probably the only way we thought we'd ever see each other. Because we both really didn't think that she'd be able to come and see me. Anyhow, by the by, the friendships blossomed and she came over. So that's the point of this video. We are going to be doing a series of videos for this project, and it's sort of a travel journey, but it's more of a memory journey, and how we collect things on the way and how we journal about them and how we're going to make them into our journal. And we're hopeful that you will come along with us and join us on this journey. Louisa's sadly back home now, and I'm here on my own. And not on my own, obviously, you know, I've got my family and everything, but she's not here anymore. And it's sad, you know, that these beautiful memories can be made, which you keep in your heart. But then she has to go back home, and, you know, that was sad. And I can't lie, I cried a lot when she went back home. But we have made some beautiful memories, and Louisa is going to be bringing out a paper collection that you will see here, that we used as our background papers for our journal. But the first video, this video, the point of this is to show you what we took with us on our travel round, and how we thought what we needed was the right things, and how different things became the right things, and how some things weren't the right things, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So that's what we're going to do. So Louisa's doing the same on her channel, and we'll be linking each other's channels on here, so you can go over and watch hers, come over and watch mine, blah blah blah, and you'll hopefully enjoy the trip with us. The whole lovely thing about doing these videos is for you to come with us on our journey, as well as see how you could make a travel journal, or how you could make a memory journal, because you don't always have to travel. You know, memories are made all over the place. Your friend can come round for a cup of tea and a cake, and you can make a memory there, and you can journal about it. And the collection is called the Memory Collection, because it's about collecting memories. We just happen to do it on a travel aspect. I mean, I didn't travel, Louisa travelled here, but we travelled around. So yeah, this is where we're going to start. So hopefully you can come with us and enjoy the trip. Hopefully you get something out of it, and if you do ever want to do a trip like this, then some of this may be helpful to you. So I'm going to start with my bag, which is very, very colourful. I don't know whether I need to zoom out a little bit, maybe a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to stand up and show you this. So this is my backpack. I didn't have this as my backpack. I had another bag that I was going to use, and realised quite early on that I needed something that was more portable. So I ordered this backpack. I ordered it off Amazon, and Louisa has put some links on her channel, and because I'm new to this, I don't know how to do that, but I will be putting the links on because my friend Louisa will help me do that. So just wanted to show you what this backpack is all about. So it's not a very big backpack. I'll try and measure it for you. I'm not very good at measurements. So the bottom is just, so this part is just about 12 inches, which is about 30 centimetres. And the width of it, which is a bit difficult to measure because it's not quite straight, but it's around 5 inches across, which is just over 12 centimetres. So that's the sort of base. This is the length. And it's not, I had a really, really big backpack that I use for travelling, and it's just 12 inches height. So I did have a very big backpack, and I thought, oh, I can use that. But it was too big, too cumbersome. You don't want to be dragging that around when you know, we were going to pubs and restaurants and cafes, and, you know, you don't really need big luggage backpack. As you can see, it's thinner at the top than it is at the bottom. And on the sides, so it's got a handle, so you can just hold it. It's got the 2 loops that you can put over as a backpack, and it's also got a shoulder strap. You can take these off if you don't want to use them, but very handy. So your shoulder strap if you just want to fling it over your arm, your backpack straps if you want to put it on your back and be more secure, and your little handle if you're just picking it up, moving from table to table or something. On each side, it's got a little pocket here, which can be used for a water bottle, and it's also got a little zip here, which goes to about here, small pocket, and in there I put things like my purse, my lipstick. I don't go anywhere without a lipstick. Purse, my lipstick, my glasses, whatever, you know, whatever tiny things that I needed to carry around with me. And also, if I wasn't using my phone, or, you know, I could put it in there and it was safe. And it's the same the other side. You've got the same pocket and the same flap. So the backpack arrived, and I thought, I like it. It's a bit colourful. I'm not very colourful. As you can see, I wear a lot of black. I do wear colour, but I'm not, you know, a big colourful. You'd never see me in an outfit with all these colours on. But I thought, you know, it's something, and it says she's pretty, you know. So I'll take that as long as it's, oh, it's gone wonky. But I'll take it. If someone wants to call me pretty, I'll have it. Thank you. Anyway, so it is very colourful backpack. It came, I unwrapped it, and I thought, yeah, that's a really, really lovely bag. How do I get into it? Because generally, I'd have thought there was a zip that went all the way around here. On a general, ordinary backpack, that's what you would look for. So I was a little bit foxed. There's no opening other than these little side zips. So don't be stupid, Lisa, turn it over. And then on the back, there was a zip. I haven't done that right. Okay, so on the back there was a little pocket with a zip, and I thought, oh, okay, this is your, on a normal ordinary backpack, you'd have your big wide zip at the front, open it up, and at the back you'd have your small pocket to put your personal items in, that when it's on your back they're safe. So I opened it, and surprise, surprise, this is the bag opening, which is brilliant. Everything in there is going to be secure, because when I put this on my back, nobody can get in there. Like, perfect. And again, you've got your small pocket here that you can put personal items in. If you wanted, if you were travelling, you could put your passport in there. It's always going to be safe, or your purse or whatever is always going to be safe in here. So I told you how wide it was at the bottom, so you can see that we've got quite a good hand span in there, and it goes up higher than the zip opening here. So that was my bag, and then I had to think about what I needed to put in it. So I'm just going to put this to one side. I'll come back down a little bit so you can see my desk. Okay, so to start with, I thought, okay, I need some baby wipes. Just bog standard baby wipes. I don't particularly use baby wipes as a rule, but thinking I'm going to be out and about, I can wipe my hands with them, I can wipe spills with them, I can, you know, wipe ink with them. Clever little thing. So that, I'm going to pack the bag and then I'll show you how it turns out. I'm going to pack it off screen, but hopefully I'll be able to show you. Then what else will I need? Papers. Now you get a sneak peek now of the memory collection, paper collection that Louisa is bringing out, and I was very, very lucky to see it before you. So the paper collection is very neutral, very beautiful. It's got all background things on it, so you're not starting on a blank page. Very often, in the past I've gone out and journaled, and I've taken, ignore my inking, but I've taken a blank piece of paper and I've done journaling on it. Very boring, very, am I journaling on here so that I can go home and put it on a different paper collection, do it differently? But you know, that's probably your theory when you take out a blank piece of paper. Whereas with this, we're actually given our background straight away. We're given lots of writing space, lots of places where we can put little notes, and we've already got a pattern going on in the background, and it's very, very beautiful. It's very, very neutral. There are some greens and blues and little bits going through it, little stamps everywhere, and things that you may be collecting on the way in the background. So you can see on this piece, it's got a big piece here. Ignore, again, my inking. I'll discuss that in a minute. But there's lots of little boxes where you can pop lots of little, you can pop a date, where you were, what you were doing. The paper's just marvellous. Now, so I printed off the paper, and I thought outside the box, and we would normally fold this in half, so it's A4 DNA. We'd fold it in half to make A5 DNA, and that's how we'd work in our journal. I wanted to do something a bit different. I was doing something very different to what I naturally do as a junk journaler anyway. I haven't done this before. I haven't been out and about and travelled either on my own or with a friend before, and I haven't done this. I've been out, as a junk journaler, we always pick up things. You go to a restaurant, you pick up the serviettes, you pick up the beer mats, you pick up the coasters, you pick up whatever you can pick up, your receipts, everything, as a junk journaler, and you bring them home. But I'd never been out to actual journal in while I'm there, and I didn't know what to expect. So I did my folding a little different. So I made thinner pages. So this one measures 4 inches, which is just 10 centimeters. And then I folded them all very different. This one I think is a little wider, just a little bit wider, 4 1/4, with the folds. I could even fold that like that, so it's general. So yeah, I just did this one here. I just did a little fold here, and then a larger fold there. So I've got a larger piece of paper, and that measures 5 1/4. So my pages were all, so I printed them off, I inked them up, and I put them together like a signature. So they were my papers. So yeah, I just loved the way this worked. And as I'm showing you what we were doing in our journals as we go along this series, you'll see how it worked for me. Louisa folded hers differently, and you'll see how that worked for her. And it just, you know, it's your personal preference what you choose to do with your papers, but this worked for me. The only thing I will say is only do this if you like inking, because not only did I ink all 4 edges on both sides, I then had to ink all my folds on both sides. So there was a lot of inking involved. But you know, I was sitting here waiting for Louisa to get here, so I had time to sit and prepare these papers. So I did do a lot of inking. So yeah, be aware how you fold. If you know you don't like inking so much, then fold less. So that's the paper collection, a little sneak peek. I will link Louisa's channel, like I've said before, and you'll be able to find this on her Etsy store. So then I needed something to put my papers in. So I'm not going to make a big journal. I'm not going to bind in a you know, signatures into one big journal and carry that around, because then that's not as portable as I would like. So Louisa had, in a past video when she went to Rome, made a small journal, and I copied because that's what we do. So this journal fits my largest papers into it. So my journal measures 6 across, 8.5 height, and just under an inch for my spine. I've covered mine because I was thinking, I need it to be quite durable. So I covered it in, it's like a faux leather material. I've got some here. So it's very, very flexible and easy to sew through. It's, you know, and I picked this up. It was in some fat quarters. I don't know if anybody knows the shop Hobbycraft, but that's where I go and get my fat quarters from. And you can buy them in a bundle like this. And this came as a leather set. So I thought that's quite a good thing to use for this daily used journal pocket thingy doobry. Sorry, I don't know what to call it. Anyway, you get my drift. So I thought it's durable and it's wipeable, so that's quite a handy little thing. And then I just decorated it with, I cut out one of the pages, popped it on there, and these little collage pieces that I've popped on are from our first series that we collaborated together. Was our friendship journals that we made from when I visited Louisa in Ulm, and these were off our poster that, you know, we advertised that series from. So Friendship, Paris, London, and Papers, Memories, Happenstances, Crafting Friendship Across Countries. That all made sense to go on this journal cover too, because you'll find out where Louisa went on her trip to get to me, and it just made sense. And then I popped a little photograph of us in there. I think I've actually spilt something on it, so yeah, I seem to have a weird forehead and eye, but never mind. And then in this journal, I just covered it with a natural fabric. I can't tell you what this fabric's called. It's like a calico type fabric. And then I made a couple of little pockets with this leather look stuff, just so I could pop a pen or something in there if I needed to, or if I found something, you know, I've got somewhere to put it. And then I just bound a piece of elastic in. This is actually split. Let me just cut that off because it did start to annoy me. Yeah, I just popped a piece of elastic in so that I can put some papers in here. So I'll just show you how I did that. So let's just gather a couple of these together. So, and I did this daily. I found out, and you'll see that throughout the series, that the way I was journaling wasn't the correct way, and I've had to change it up. But you will know that, and hopefully with us showing you where we went wrong, because I think Louisa had the same problem. We didn't know how to use the papers to journal, because you don't know what you're going to find, you don't know what you're going to put in there. And I was just going on and on and on and on, and thought I'm just going to have one big huge signature, which, you know, is not what I wanted for my actual finished journal. So gathered three or four pieces of the papers and popped them in my little book, popped the folds to the edges of the elastic, and then, as you can see, I could just flip and journal as and where I wanted. When I got to this side of the page, I just slid my papers across to this side, and then you flip this way. It didn't hinder me. In fact, it was the most perfect thing to take out with me. I absolutely loved it. It's thin enough to go. Yes, it went in my backpack, but if I'm from now on, if I'm at home, this will go in my handbag. It's not going to take up much room. I can pop a pen in here. I can, you know, if I gather some bits and pieces, I haven't really got anything to show you at the minute because I've popped most of my stuff away. But I don't know, say this was a napkin, I could pop that in there, and I've kept my napkin. I could also pop something in here. So if I picked up a mat, I don't know, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to pick this up from a shop, from a pub or anything, but pretend this is a bit of mat, and that could go in there. And then, so I can take this out because it's small enough, handy enough, not heavy. I can take this anywhere with me from now on, and that's what I will be doing, because you make memories wherever you go. You might only be popping to the shop for some milk, but you could meet up with a friend, you could decide to have a coffee, you could collect some ephemera on the way, you can sit and journal about meeting your friend. It might be a friend that you haven't met for a long while. You might just bump into a lovely person and have a conversation with them that you think, I need to recall that, I need to keep that, that was a beautiful memory. And you've got this with you. You can just sit down on a bench, you know, at a cafe and just do your journaling. So that's how my little book worked. So we'll put that one and that one. We won't put these into my bag because I didn't take all of my papers every day, but we will pop this into the bag because that will make sense. I also, with the paper collection, there's a lot of ephemera. I was very impatient, and I don't listen to Louisa. I tried to listen, but she's always saying to me, listen, because I don't listen. I just go off on my own tangent. And I cut every single piece of ephemera out. To be honest, Louisa was travelling to get to me, and I was very excited that she was coming, and I was trying to calm down. So cutting out this ephemera was the perfect task because, you know, I had something to do. So there's lots of pieces of ephemera, as you can see, lots of different pieces. And I also daily took out this. We will show you this more in depth, but just for now, I just want to show you what I was taking and how it went. So I had these little pockets, which are brilliant, and I've got them in this size, which is, I believe, DNA 5 maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not very good with my sizes or anything. And then there's the large one, which is more A4 size. This actually fits into my bag. Little bit of a squeeze, but it does actually fit in. So I did actually take these with me in my bag. So we'll pop these in here for now. I started off with just not going to be able to do this, am I, with one hand. I started off just taking a few small pieces every day, and then realised I wanted some of the bigger pieces as I was working. So yeah, that changed. And you know, the beauty of me still being at home and doing my travelling, going round and about, was that I still had my craft room to come back to. Louisa didn't have a craft room to come back to. She obviously did. She could come back to mine, yes, of course. But if we had both met up in a different city to where I lived, then we would both be without a craft room. So we had to think outside of the box and think what we would need. Now, even if we were staying outside of the city, and Louisa was, she had a hotel room or somewhere to stay. So you didn't have to take everything out with you. But these little pouches just are brilliant, to be honest. And you just pop your stuff in there and that can go in your bag. Whilst I was cutting out this ephemera, I'm not going to put it all in now. I did put it all in and did drag it all around with me, but just for video, you don't need to see me fiddling all that into a pot. Whilst we were going through the ephemera, these larger pages, that could be a page. I could even fold this the way I was folding and make this a page in my journal. So there are larger pieces. Ignore my very, very, very straight cutting there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I'm not very good at cutting. I do need to get my paper cutter out. But hey ho, let's not worry about that. So these larger pieces, I thought, oh, what if we're not at a cafe, not at somewhere where there's a table, where there's a hard surface for us to sit and journal at? What if we only had our knees, which some people might have very straight, very solid, hard, good, strong legs. Mine are a little bit wobbly and a little bit wibbly. So I would not be able to put a piece of paper onto my knees and write anything or glue anything because my knees are wibbly wobbly like this. So this would just be wibbly wobbling all over the place. So I got a piece of card. You can see this is gone a bit scraggy here, but ignore that. Piece of hard card, not too thick, still quite thin. And I glued one of these pieces of ephemera onto it because I thought this is a great writing board. So it's a flat surface, it's quite solid, it's not too solid that it's, you know, gonna be heavy and hinder me carrying it around, but it's quite solid enough for me to do some writing on. So if I was going to journal on this piece of paper, I've got a board to actually write on and it's not wibbly wobbling all over my leg. So yeah, great idea. So that was that. It was such a good idea that my original one that I made, Louisa Heinzel now has, because she said, well, that's a brilliant idea, and kept everywhere we were going, she was borrowing it. So I just said, oh, have it, I've made two. So I've just written writing board on here, and I've written second edition because I just found that funny. Because, you know, the original has gone to the best junk journaler in the world in my eyes, and she's got a piece of just board that I made, but she found it great, so I've taken that. I loved it. And on the other side, this one I did glue to something, but then decided I didn't want it on there, so I've taken it off. But it's not spoiled because it is just a board. And on the other side, I'd written on my first one, use this side for blotting. So sometimes if you write something with a pen, now I'm in my craft room, we've got shitloads of paper everywhere and haven't got anything to write on, so I'm just going to write on this for now. It's just one of the beautiful tags from the Memory Collectors paper collection. Anyway, so if you write something on here like, I love you, Louisa, we don't always know how quickly our pens dry. So the whole point of this board then was to use this as a blotting. So it is only card, but it would take any of your, you know, if your pen was still wet, it would blot it, so that if this is in your papers, you can close it up and you know that that's not going to stain this side. Oh, let me go back to this. So I decided to keep my other sides of the paper pure in the pure form. This is matte photo paper, 140 GSM, and it's the koala paper. I've decided it's not thick enough for me in my... I do use it. I've used it for a long time, but I've just ordered some new paper that I haven't used yet, so I can't give you any information about it. But yeah, this one. So, but I decided to keep it in the white. I don't know why I decided that, because in past junk journals and everything I've made, I normally would coffee dye this or stencil it or stain it, or I would do something with this. I'd never have a white page, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to enjoy it. I absolutely love the contrast of having the white page. And when I show you, I don't know if I've got... This is probably my first signature. Haven't decided fully yet, but you'll see that, you know, I journaled all over. But you can see that I kept the pages white, but put a lot of things. These are for photos to be added, and yeah, and I'm enjoying the white background because I'm enjoying the clean lines. As you can see, I used this yellow tape to stick my things in, but I'm actually, I didn't think I would like it, but I actually enjoy this white background. I don't know if it's going to stay this white. I don't know if I'm going to put something on there. I don't know if I'm going to stencil it. I don't know, but at the moment I'm enjoying the fact that it's the white in there. So yeah, this is, you can see a little bit how this is folded and how it worked and how these little pieces worked. And mine, I've got flip outs all over the place. And when I did these, I did think, oh, if I have a flip out, I'll show you on another page because that one's got things on it. And that's a little bit of a sneak peek for what's coming in the videos. But as you can see, I did these folds here, and I did think to myself, I could glue just along here and along here, and then I've got a pocket to pop things in. I haven't done that yet because I've enjoyed having the flip outs. I think along the way, some of these will possibly become pockets, tuck spots, whatever. But yeah, I haven't done it yet, and that's a bit of a phenomenon for me. I can't say that word, so don't make me repeat it. Thank you. It's just a bit strange that this was my theory. Glue these two, I've got a little pocket to pop things in as I'm collecting things. But as I've been journaling, I haven't, because I've enjoyed opening these spots, writing on here, then tucking it over, maybe putting something over there so it's like a flip-flop. You know, flip-flop, they're what you wear on your feet, Lisa. Sorry, never mind. Flip-flap, flop-flip, flap-flip. You know what I mean. One of them. Anyway, so yeah, it's just odd that as you're doing things, you find different things come to you, which is the beauty of junk journaling. So yeah, my board goes in my bag. Then what else did I take? Okay, so we've got these pockets, and I took a wet glue. Now, Louisa didn't bring a wet glue. I totally understand why. She was traveling from Ulm in Germany to me in where I am. I'm not going to say where she came because I'm going to leave that to her. But yeah, where I am, and anybody who knows me already knows where I live. Anyway, so, but I'm not far from home. I did have the top on my glue. I didn't just have my pin. At home, I just have a pin. I did put the top on. Now, it's pretty secure. But I still wouldn't trust it coming a long way. But I was going out for the day and it is pretty secure. So I had this little beautiful little bag that I've had a little while. It's not hoarding if it's craft supplies. The perfect little bag to take around with you. I think it's classed as a makeup bag, but I'm not going to put my makeup in it, am I? Because I'm a crafter. So yeah, again, just a small pocket bag. Oh, don't know what I've got in there. A few little seeds, I think, from my collecting on the way. Don't know if you can see them. So in here, I popped my wet glue, which this is tall enough for it to stand in. I also popped in a glue stick. Now, I don't like using these. They're not my favourite friend, but I thought, okay, we're going out and about. It might be easier just to, you know, whack a bit of this on and glue something to a page. So I popped that in. I think Louisa's shown on her video that we had, this is glue tape too, but it's like a Rinner tape and clear. I didn't know whether this would be as permanent as it is. It's quite a permanent, quite a good glue runner. Glue runner? I don't know what they're called. Anyway, I think she would have shown you this because I gave her one and I had one. Don't know what this little bit is there. I haven't really used it much and I don't know a lot about it. I can't tell you where I got it from. I'm so sorry. But I do think that any tape runner, that's what they're called, always comes to me eventually. So I don't, you know, any tape runner, and it's just a little, you can see there, it puts a little bit of glue and it's quite sticky. So if you're out and about, I did think, oh, what a clever little thing to take a little glue runner with me, because then I could pop things and stick them on. Now, might not be permanent. I don't know how permanent another piece of paper would stick on there. But yeah, permanent enough to get you throughout the day and get your piece home that you'd found or whatever. So yeah, good idea to have a little tape runner. So that goes in there too. Just stand those up and lay that down. Then I don't really go anywhere without a bone folder. Why do they get so grubby? Probably because you pick them up when you're covered in glue and ink. But yeah, this is a natural bone folder. I've got the acrylic-y ones as well. But this has got a bit of weight to it, so you really do feel when you're scoring your page, you know, when you're creasing your creases, you really do feel that it's working. This one is a little bit more flimsy. They're good, don't get me wrong, but this is a bone folder. I will try and link this one because it is Amazon, and they're not very expensive, but they're always great to have. So popped that in. Never know, I didn't know what I'm going to need. I have no idea. Popped a single hole punch in. I didn't actually use this, and I didn't take my crocodile to put any snap things on, but I may wanted to have put a hole in something. Who knows how I've never done this before. I was just trying to think outside the box what I might need. So I did pop that in, didn't use it but could use it. So even if I do this again or on my daily little jaunts or whatever, I think I would pack it because I think it's a useful thing and you never know when you're going to need something. Tape. I took some of the yellow tape. This will be linked below. I'm hoping when Louisa tells me how I can do it, because I really don't know how to do things like that. But I popped the tape. I've got a thicker one and a thinner one. And then I took, this is very worn, I do need to get some new sponges. Took one of my ink blenders. I'm really tired. And I'll just explain a little bit. So I did tell you earlier that I've been diagnosed with an illness. My illness does bring about a little bit of, it's not memory loss, but since I've been diagnosed with what I've got, I'm not going to go into it, but I have limited amount of space in my head to retain information, and I find that I struggle to find the word that I need sometimes for what I'm needing to say. So yeah, Louisa, as well as trying to learn and speak English while she was with me, she was also struggling to get words out of me because I don't always know the word I mean. So yeah, so a simple thing like an ink blender, I can just forget in a moment and not be able to tell you what it is, but you all know what these are anyway. So one of those went in my bag, and I don't carry a lot in my craft room of inks and colours. When I was very lucky to go to Germany and to be in Louisa's craft room, and she's got every single colour that, you know, that is in the Tim Holtz range, and it's wonderful and beautiful, and yes, I'd probably love every colour, but then when I look at it, I probably wouldn't, because I most probably wouldn't use them. I've said probably how many times. If anyone wants to go back and do a tick list of how much I say that word, probably. Sorry. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, there's if anyone wants to let me know that I say that word a lot, say it. I'm not. What am I talking about? I'm just drivelling now. I think I might need to take a break in 5. We haven't got much more to do, so I'll just carry on. So yeah, I put this, I used Vintage Photo to do my inking of my pages. It's my go-to, to be honest. It is my favourite ink pad, oxide. I don't use the ink pads, I only use the oxides. And there's no other reason for that than I just chose to use the oxides. I think they do so much more. You can use them as just an ink, or you can get so much more out of them when you apply the water to them, blah, blah, blah. And I chose to have oxides because, you know, I'm not a billionaire, and I had to make a decision and I have to make decisions along the way of what I want to be in my craft room. What do I use? What am I going to use? So Louisa's very, very lucky that she was a maker for Tim. I think she still does things with Stampers Anonymous, and she crafts as her actual living. It's her life. So she needs lots and lots and lots and lots of things. I'm a hobby crafter that's hoping to do a little bit more on here. I don't have the room, I don't have the budget, so I have to make decisions like probably a lot of us, and I chose to have oxides rather than inks. So and it is still a limited range. I think I haven't got an awful lot of inks. There's a couple of random things there. I don't have, I've only got one little tiny weeny one, and it's my favourite one, Rustic Wilderness. So I don't have an awful lot of inks to choose from, but I have the ones I love. And if I want to do a project and it's got a certain colour in it, then I'll buy that because that's what I need to make that project or whatever, and that will get my stash up, but without me buying every single thing in the range. So yeah, I'm waffling on, but hopefully you understand what I mean. So I chose to take vintage photo with me. What else do I need? Right, pair of scissors. Now I have the Tim Holtz scissors that are from Tonic Studios. They're a little bit larger than the ones Louisa brought with her. Mine don't taper as finely in, but these are my go-to fussy cutting scissors, and my scissors are all in a pot. I've got lots of pairs of scissors. They all live in a big pot. I can't drag this around with me, and I didn't really want to take a pair of scissors around with me just as a blunt blade. I don't have the cap. So because it comes in a handy tin, they don't live in here as a rule. This tin lives in my drawer and my scissors go in my little pot. But because I've still got the tin, what a handy little thing to take with my scissors in. This tin also became invaluable along the journey, because we went out for tea with somebody very special, which will come to light as we're going along, and I just took this. I took some watercolor paper, just snippets of watercolor paper. Why am I doing this like this? Excuse me, I'm just going to come off camera because I don't want you to see me using knives in a way that you shouldn't use knives. I took this, here you can see. So I took snippets of watercolor paper that were probably about as big as this tin, to be honest, and I had them in one of my little handy bags. And when we had tea with somebody, we put the water, I took the innards out, which still protected the blade of my scissors. When they went in my bag, that's fully protected, it's not going to stab anybody. So, and the tin, we'd put the watercolor paper in, and then we'd put our tea bags that had been used onto the watercolor paper, and we could keep it in the tin and then carefully transport this without it spilling everywhere and tea going on everything. Although as a junk journaler, I don't think I'd minded if the tea had spilled, but there you go. So this became a very handy tin. Once we'd used this, we continued to use it for the same thing. However, on Louisa's video, she might show you, I had a little pouch. I don't have another one. So it's like the airport see-through pouches that you get, but it's got a zipper, and I used it for one special tea bag that came home with this transport situation, but then I wanted Louisa to have the tea bag, so I found this little pouch, popped the tea bag in, zipped it up, and I think that was the perfect thing. So we did realise that during the journey there was things that we didn't use, things we did use a lot, and things we could have had that we didn't have. So yeah, but this tin worked invaluable for that moment in time, so that also came with me, so that can go in the bag. We then had these. I think Louisa might talk a little bit more about these. I didn't use these as much as I thought I would, and I don't think I think we both could have done a lot more with these, and on future trips and journeys and, you know, travel making memories, then I think these would I think we both realised, and you might see this on her video, that we both realised that we didn't use these on opportunities where we should have, to be honest. And yeah, that's a bit sad. Who knows, maybe one day we'll be able to go back to those places and do what we missed, but I don't know. I don't know. We don't know. No one knows what's going to happen. But this is like, it's called an eraser. So, you know, it says in the name, if you get pen on something, you can erase it. But we wanted to use it and did use it, just not to the degree we wanted to, was to take imprints of things. And I think we did a dinner plate at one of our venues. The dinner plate had, oh, a little bit like my mushroom. Let me just show you my mushroom. Louisa made me this mushroom. It goes in my plant pot. But the dinner plate had texture on it like this. So we actually imprinted the dinner plate after we'd eaten our food, obviously. And as you can see, you've got an imprint there of what was there. And then we inked this. I'm not going to do it now because I'll probably get really messy. But Louisa will show you on her video. We then inked this with our ink pad and pressed it onto our paper and got the imprint of what we were looking at, or what we thought was quite special. Great way to get some texture without texture. So if you're just inking this print onto your paper, I'm gonna have to do it, aren't I? Where's my archive link? Okay, I did also take my Ranger archive link because black ink is the best, well, in my eyes. And we did realise that normally you would ink to your thing, stamp, whatever. But in this case, it was better to take the imprint to the ink. Really haven't done a very good job of this. I don't know how it's going to work, but let me use that little tag again to show you. So I don't know, we could say this was something we found along the way. We took the imprint and we put some ink to it, and then we stamped it onto our paper. I mean, yeah, you're all shouting at me, what the blooming heck is that? Because that's not a very good print. However, that still made a memory for me. So if I was out and about and seen this beautiful, original, gorgeous little mushroom sitting on the side, and I got an imprint of that and took this stuff, made that imprint, it may not have come out perfect, but what is perfect in the world of junk journaling? And I could then write on here, found this on a mushroom. I mean, you wouldn't find it on a real mushroom, and you wouldn't be able to get the imprint of it, I don't believe. Well, I don't know. I haven't tried it. I might try it. We'll get that little bit of sticky glue stock. So I've made a memory straight away here. I've got the imprint. I'll remember the mushroom. I remember that it had this texture, and I've now got this texture. Even if my stamping went a bit wrong, I've got the texture and then the journaling to say what it was. And I could even write here where it was. So I'm just going to put craft room, because I've just put craft room because it is in my craft room. But this isn't to go in the journal, this is just to show you. So hopefully you'll understand what that stuff does. I think it's got a lot more potential than we actually used it for. I'm going to, and this would then go, and we did also think, because this little pot is very handy, we thought if you took the imprint and you didn't have your ink on you or anything, you could always pop it. I mean, this isn't going to work because I'm going to squash it, but you could make it so that it still fit back in there. I mean, it has worked. pop it back in your little pot that these come in, and take that back to wherever you stay in, whatever you're doing, wherever, you know, home or your craft room or a hotel room, or, you know, and anywhere, wherever you're going. You can take this back with you. You've still got the imprint. So when you get back, you could then, if you didn't have your ink with you, you could then do this and put it in the place in your journal where you wanted it to be. So very handy. They're by Faber-Castell. I think that's how you say it. And again, we'll try and put the links on for you. So they also went into this little bag. And pens. What did I take then? Right, I'm going to just pop my scissors into my little bag. I'm going to pop this bag into my little bag for now. Pens, pencils. So I'm not going to talk about these because I know Louisa is going to talk about these. These are Sharpie creative markers, and they are just the best sharper marker that I've ever set eyes on. And we'd bought these, Louisa, we tried them in my craft room when we got home one day, and they were just marvellous. So Louisa went home with because we bought them in a set of black and white. Louisa went home with them, and I went hot-footing it to the local store where I got them and purchased them myself because they're just brilliant. I had, though, prior to those, taken out a Sharpie, just a general normal Sharpie. I think we bought some Sharpies as well. I had this pen. It's just a regular ballpoint looking pen, but it came out with the most beautiful ink. As you can see, I have journaled quite a lot, and now my pen has run out. I don't know where I got this from. I don't know where I can find it again. It's got no markings on it. It has got a saying on it. It says fresh outer, and then there's a word here that I'm not going to say on here, but it begins with a f. I'm not saying anymore. But it hasn't got any markings on like who made the pen or anything. So I can't rebuy this pen, and it was the most beautiful writing pen I've ever had. So I'm going to have to keep hunting them down. However, whilst we were in the store, we also bought these Sharpie gel pens, which again are a gorgeous pen to write with. Just a lovely pen. And Louisa was having problems with the pen she was using. She was having to write like straight down to the page, which made her handwriting, I mean, her handwriting's beautiful, but she was saying it was making it look weird. Whereas I didn't mind what it was doing, but she was having to write like this, which can be very, very awkward. Normally, generally, you write like this, you know, you hold your pen naturally in your hand. This would definitely recommend these pens. They're Sharpie. They're called the S Gel, and this is a 0.7. Don't know what that means, but again, we'll try and link those. So the pen I had then became this pen because mine ran out. But a pen, I also took a Stabilo Write-All pen, which again is a nice writing pen. Don't think I used it, but I could use it. I took a pencil. Now I use quite a heavy lined pencil. This is a 4B and it's a sketching pencil. So did I want to sketch things? Maybe. Did I want to just write notes that I could write down and then rub out, erase when I got home? It was just a note for me to understand when I was looking back at my journal. I've got another pen here. This is just a cheap supermarket pen, and you can tell it's just a cheap supermarket pen, but always have a spare, you know, never know when you're going to run out. So my pencil went in. I took this pen with me and I didn't use it. We may have tried to use it a couple of times. I'm not going to rate it. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to rate it, and it won't be going back in that box. And also this is another white marker pen that I'm also not going to rate and not talk about because I didn't find them that they suited me, but they may suit you. So, and I didn't take these on day one, but then thought what a great idea to take just a small selection of my distress crayons, because you never know when you might want to use a distress crayon and do some smidging with water or whatever. So this is just a little pot. I can't tell you where it's from. It's just a general storage system pot that, you know, I'm sure we've all got all different types of. I think my pencil needs sharpening a little bit so that I can get it in. So all that, you know, we've all got little storage pots that we use for different things, and this is something that I've just had probably for years and years and years in my craft room, but it worked because it carried my pens. I need to put this in this one, and I think we're nearly there. I also put that in, and Louisa did the same. We also took our paintbrushes that are, you can fill with water. That one's got a little bit of water in, so if you're need some water and you can't get to anywhere, I mean, you can always get to water, surely. You've got a water bottle or, you know, a drink of water or something, you should always be able to get to water. But if you can't, these are, what a wonderful idea. The water comes out and you can use the paintbrush and the water. I mean, my ink's dry, so it's not going to do anything, but yeah, brilliant ideas. Great. So a couple of those went in. Again, another little pencil tin, probably in the past, but great for carrying those. And if the water did spill out, it's in a tin, not gonna hurt. And alongside the water, I took out, this is just an old pencil pot that I took out. They were just normal coloured pencils, but I actually took with me my watercolour pencils. So if I wanted to colour something in, then get my little paintbrush with my water, I could use that. So I had a form of way of getting colour onto my page if I wanted to. Didn't actually use these, but I have come up with an idea of how I could use these, and that will come up on another video, hopefully, in this series. So I can show you what I've thought to use them. So that went in my bag. My bag is now getting quite full. And then I had this little stamp set. There's stamp sets like this all over the internet and the world. This was bought from a cheapy shop, but just little wooden stamps, and they became, it was just a really good idea to take these with us, and it's small, it's light and portable, and that's what you need to think. So if you're going on this journey and you're going to think of things, think of what's portable. What would you use that is portable? I also took a couple of paint brushes. Now, these aren't the paint brushes I took because I'm going to show you what I did with them. So I took out paint brushes and we were using these. And then what did I have to put these back into after I'd used them. And they could have paint on, would be wet. I hadn't thought about that. So I'd got my little paintbrush, just a couple of different sizes paintbrush. And we'd stopped and got a drink of water somewhere along the way. And this water bottle, and you could use any water bottle, but this water bottle just proved to be the exactly right thing. Haven't taken the label off properly yet. Let's do that now. I'm going to keep this because to me that is ephemera. And I've got a piece of my paper here, so it's sticky. Can't really see. Oh, that was wrong. Oh, am I going to get this peeled off now? Oh, I am. Gently, gently, gently does it, gently does it, gently does it. Okay, there's a darker coffee thing here, so I think that's going to stick beautifully there. A memory collected. The water bottle that I bought, that I've used since, and it's become invaluable to me. And I've got a little bit of ephemera to remember that memory. So yes, this was just a water bottle in a shop. You could use any water bottle, I'm pretty sure. And in it, I could use my, may need a wipe. Look at me, not cleaning my brush. I'm expecting you to follow me. Never mind. We all get into bad habits. There we go. That's cleaned. So yes, the water bottle was invaluable. And even if you didn't have water, like drinkable water, you could go into any bathroom and just put a drop of water in here. And then when we'd finished using the paintbrushes, we just popped them in here to stay wet, and you know, the whatever we'd used didn't dry on them. Done that up, and that went into the pocket of my bag, which this proved invaluable, to be honest, because I didn't have anywhere to put wet paintbrushes. So you do need to think about things as you're going along, and as you're going along you will find things. Now hopefully us doing these videos, you will learn that before you, if you do this as a trip with a friend or even on your own, that you this might be helpful as to what you might need along that trip. So, and I think Louisa will say we did take some cuttings of plants and flowers as we were going along, not to kill the plants. We were very, very careful, but to have a memory of things that we'd seen, and we could do with a flower press. Now I had a very large flower press that, yes, I could have saved the things, put them in a piece of paper, brought them home, done them in the flower press. I haven't got the flower press anymore. I wasn't finding I was using it enough, but Louise came up with a very good idea that if we had a little portable one, what a brilliant idea that would be. So let's go back to the bag. I'm going to just make sure you can see everything. So we're back with the bag. As I've been talking to you, I've been popping things in here. These could actually, because there's room at the top, I could go up there. That one could also go up there, into there. So you can see my board's in there, my bag's in there, my scissors are in there. Pop these bags in there. They've got nothing in them, but they may have had something in them. My little alphabet stamp can go down one side, and my pen pot. And I think that was pretty much what I took on a daily basis, and it all fits in my lovely little bag quite perfectly, and it was easy to carry around, and still had, like I said, space to put my personal items in. And then this little water pot that became our paintbrush water pot just goes in nicely on the side. And there we have a bag ready to take with you on a lovely little journey. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you join us on our little journey, and you will see all the little bits and bobs that we found and how we put them together and what we're going to do with them. And yeah, I hope to see you here with us. And I've said I'll try and link everything I can below. I'll link Louisa's channel, even though you probably all watch her anyway. And I'd just like to say thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please comment if there's something, you know, that you want to know that I haven't covered. Then I will try and cover it. And yes, bye-bye for now. Take care of you.